Hey guys, it's Dylan with Jowers Technology Solutions. So I know it's been a few weeks. I said I was going to start putting out more content, and then all of a sudden, what happened? So I was able to start cyber school with the Army. So right now I'm going through a 20-week course, and that's what I've been doing. So unfortunately, my time has been stretched thin, but I'm still working on it. I'm still working at it. I'm still going to be doing content. It's just unfortunately not at the pace that I was hoping for. So what I wanted to do today was kind of throw that out there. When I get done with cyber school, then I will be able to come back and do a lot more as far as technical stuff, showing you how to do things that before I wouldn't have had any knowledge on. Also being able to, I guess, put you in a better mindset because right now, well, in the past, I'll say, people have been more focused on connectivity. So it's like, okay, as long as you plug it in and it works, that's all we care about. Well, I've taken this from more of a connectivity priority to a security priority. So whenever you first start building a network, and putting devices on it, you want to think of it from a security standpoint. So for example, like a customer of mine, we're doing the same thing. So right now, instead of saying, okay, we're just going to plug up these switches and everything's going to be open. Now what we're doing is we're going to have it set up to where all the ports are basically going to be shut down. To start with, if somebody needs to get connectivity, then we document it. We say what the purpose of that device is, and then we turn it on and we let it ride. So there's plenty of platforms out there that do that. But if you're in an environment where you might not have some of the tools that some other companies have, then you can definitely start with something basic like that. But anyway, so that's where I've been, and I'm definitely going to be producing content. I want to definitely get out there more and show people how to do things, especially with open source since it's free. It's out there. You can use it. And yeah, so I've done a few videos on with Elk and Wazoo and OpenSense. Right now, what I'm going to do is this is going to be somewhat quick. It depends on how fast it downloads and installs. But what I'm going to do is I have two Elk Elasticsearch, I'll say Elasticsearch nodes, and I'm going to cluster them. So what you're going to see is you're going to see under the disk or under the stack management, you're going to see where it says 50 gigabytes available for your writing space, and the JVM heap is going to be probably 1 gig. And I'm going to show you how to cluster them so you have more disk space for logging. So we're going to go ahead and get started with that. And right now what I did was I have two VMs set up. The first, and they both have a GUI with them, just so we can do everything from the server itself and not have to go to a client machine and remote in. So I'm going to go ahead and log into the first one and get started. And by the way, I hope everybody had a great 4th of July weekend. Mine was great. I got to spend time with family, and I had no complaints. Alright, so first thing we're going to do, I already had the terminal window up because the screensaver just came up. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure that you have, and this is going to be a brand new setup. So we're going to go through here, and I've already done the repo, which I'm typing the wrong path. There we go. So I've already put the repo in there. This is the correct repo for Elasticsearch, and I've already done this on both servers, just so you're aware. So what we're going to go ahead and do is do yum install Elasticsearch, Kibana, and FileBeat. We're going to go ahead and install all three of them at one time. Uh-oh, must be root. Let's try that again. Alright, so while this is running, I'm going to go ahead and hop over to the other server, and we're going to do the same exact thing. I'm just going to go ahead and make myself root. This is a lab environment, so it's all good. And this may take a minute to download and install, but that's okay. Feel free to skip ahead if you need to. So once again, I'm not going to type out the path, but the repo is already in there. So we're going to do yum install. Uh-oh. If I can type correctly, there we go. It's been a long day. A very long day. Alright, so these are going to go ahead and download and install. I'm going to check the other one. It should be relatively fast. Alright, so that's waiting on the transaction to run, and this one's doing the same thing. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and pick it up right here. So this is on the first server we have. We're going to go ahead and hop right into it. So the first thing you're going to do is hop in here and go ahead and configure the Elasticsearch. Uh-oh. Oh, huh. Make sure you're root. There we go. Alright, so the first thing you're going to go ahead and do is, so again, we're doing the cluster piece, so we're going to go and do all of it at one time. Do an insert, go ahead and name your cluster. I'm just going to type my cluster. Node name is going to be lab elk1 or 1elk lab, whichever one we want to do. We'll do elk lab 1. And I've already predefined my IP addresses on the actual box, so this is what the IP address is for this one. And make sure you uncomment it. One of the most common mistakes that I've made myself is not uncommenting things or missing a curly brace or whatever. Or I'm not a curly brace, a bracket. So just keep that in mind whenever you're going through this and configuring it. Alright, so this is important for the discovery seeds. You're going to type in both your IP address for this one and your other one that you're putting together. And this is going to be your node name for your master, which is going to be the elk lab 1. Alright, so that looks good, and I believe we are set. I'll double check really quick. Yep, looks good. Okay, so go ahead and hit escape, right quit, and then you're going to go ahead and do a system CTL daemon reload. And that, well, you know, you can do that or you can wait. I'm going to go ahead and configure Kibana as well, and I'm going to go ahead and configure all three of them and then just start them up so that way you can see it. Alright, so remember uncomment. Oh, hit the wrong button. Remember to uncomment the server port, uncomment server host, and then you can make this the IP address of your host, or you can just do zeros for all interfaces. And here's the other piece for the cluster. So you're going to uncomment this, and then this is going to be both your current server IP address and your other IP address for your other node. So this is going to be the HTTP, not S. I'm so used to typing HTTPS. Alright, and then this is going to be port 9200, and then close it off with a quote, a double quote. There we go. Alright, so that was good. So go ahead and do escape, right quit, and then just move right into file beat. Alright, so there's an extra piece to this. So for file beat, you want to go ahead and make sure this is true. So it's enabled. And then scroll down to the bottom, well, scroll or arrow key down to the bottom. Right here to output Elasticsearch, and that's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the .120 address. And you're going to come over here and do a comma, double quote, 10.0.100.121, and then colon 9200, and then make sure you close quote that. The quotes is what gets me as well. You have to make sure you put the quotes in there. And then right here you're going to do a load balance, so that way it's load balancing between the two file beats that you're going to have set up. Do an escape, right quit. Alright, so at this point you can go and do the system CTL daemon reload, and then do the system CTL enable, and then you're going to do all three of them at one time. I apologize if the typing is loud. mechanical keyboards and all. So you're gonna hit enable, so they will automatically come on whenever you reboot the machine, and you're gonna go ahead and go back and start. And if there's any issues, they will pop up. And you can also do the curl on the Elasticsearch as well, just to make sure it's returning correctly. Usually this takes just a minute. So while that's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and come over here and start this one as well. Alright, so go ahead and hop in here and do the Elasticsearch. And this is basically the same thing as you're putting both IPs in there and good to go. So hit insert and same thing. Only this is going to be Lab 2, we'll call it. And again, make sure you uncomment it. This is a little tedious, but hey, if it weren't, aggravating, it wouldn't be fun, right? So we'll do 120 here, and then we'll go ahead and do 121 as well. And then right here, so you're going to put your Lab 1 right here because that's your master node. Alright, and go make sure you uncomment these guys. Looks good. I always go back and double check myself just to make sure. One little thing can knock off your whole setup. Alright, going to do the V, Etsy, Kibana. Same thing right here. And I will say this as well, you don't have to have the Kibana set up as well. You can have one Kibana instance, we'll call it, but for redundancy you can have two Elasticsearch nodes, two Kibana instances, and two FileBeat instances, just so if one goes down the other picks up. Same thing here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 120 first and then the 121 second. That looks good, and the other pieces look good, so we're going to do an escape right quit. I'm going to hop right in there and do the FileBeat as well. So once you have all these, all three of these set up on each box, it's pretty straightforward. I try to make these videos too long, but I end up making them long because I do all the configuration at one time. Alright, that's good, and then we're going to go ahead and add a secondary IP in there. Again, put load balance in there so the load balances it correctly. Alright, doing an escape right quit. Once again, we're going to do a systemctl daemon reload. We're going to go ahead and enable all of them. If I can type correctly, there we go. And FileBeat. Alright, now we're going to start these. I'll start this one as well. So we'll go back to the other one and make sure it started correctly, and it looks like it did. So you can do several things to check it. I'm just going to go ahead and hit status, and you're going to see an error on that FileBeat because I just configured the other side of it for the load balance and whatnot. So that's fine. And then what I was talking about a second ago was you can do the curl HTTP and curl that IP address to make sure it's coming out right. Alright, so that's what you want to see whenever you get that. And then one other thing make sure you do is make sure you put in the ports for the clustering as well. I don't think I did on this one, so I'm going to go back and double check. Okay, never mind, it's already there. So 9200 is for your beats coming in. 5601 is so that you can web GUI into the Kibana instance, and then 9300 is for the clustering. So just keep that in mind. And let's see here, what else was there? I think we're good. I'm gonna go ahead and restart that system CT or the file beat instance just so it can reconnect and work right. I'll just backspace and hit status on there, so it looks like we're good. Alright, so let's hop back over to the other one, verify that everything else took, and then we'll hop into an actual web GUI. Uh-oh. Doesn't work when you put two U's in there. Alright, once again, so also I'm going to go ahead and hop in here and make sure that the firewall port is in place too. Alright, so that one's there. Good deal. So I'm going to curl this again just to make sure. Uh-oh. Connection refused. Okay. So let's go back in there and figure out. Oh, you know, I see why. Gotta specify the port. There we go. It's the little things that get you. Alright, so let's go and do a systemctl. Restart FileBeat one more time. Make sure that it comes up right. And you can do a TACL to give you more output. It looks like we're good to go. So let's go ahead and we're going to go back over to the first server, and then we're going to open up a Firefox browser, and then we're going to browse to the IP address. Alright, and so I've already been there with this one, so we're just going to hit restore session and make sure it comes up right. Alright, so this is what you want to see. One other thing that I did not do, so I'm going to go, well, I don't really need to do it because we're not looking for FileBeat input right now. We were doing this mainly for the clustering, so but what you want to do after you've set up this piece is you want to come in here and type FileBeat setup, and this is going to run the setup for FileBeat to give you your first initial set of dashboards. So I'll go ahead and run it just for fun, bam, and then whenever after we verify that the stack management's good, then we'll look at the FileBeat and see what it comes up with. It's probably not going to come up with anything right now because this is on a lab server, the VMs themselves, and so there's not any traffic going across or any traffic that it'll see. So basically this is pointless to do right now, but that's okay. At least you see it. So I'll let that do its thing, and I'm going to go ahead and go back to the web browser and look at the stack management. Or stack monitoring, rather. Alright, so you want to hit turn on, and then you want to see that success. That's important. And what you should see here in just a minute is just, it should say disk space available 100, so we'll see it in a second. Bam, right there. This right here is what you want to see. Usually if this is not clustered, that will just say 50, and so since we clustered them, it says 100. And you can also expand this out. So if you cluster, 3, 4, 5, Elasticsearch nodes or whatever, then that will increase. And then also with the JVM heap right here, I'll show you. So I believe this VM, I'll double check. I think this VM has 16 gigs. Yep, 16 gigs of RAM, and then the other one I think has 8. Yep, 8. Okay. So what you can do here, I'll do it really quick just so you can see it. That is okay. Never mind. I didn't exit out of it. So what you can do here is you just type in etc Elasticsearch JVM options, and then super simple. This right here where it's XMS 1G and XMX 1G. You just make this half of what your actual RAM is, and then you'll be good to go. So this is going to be 8, and make sure they're matching as well. 8, and then go ahead and do a right quit, and then you'll have to go ahead and do your systemctl restart Elasticsearch, and then in just a minute we'll see that pop up. You can tab it out, give or take how fast you can type it. One or the other is faster. So go ahead and do that for this one, and then we'll do the same thing over here. This was 8, so we'll do 4. Alright, so we'll hop back over to the first one, and you're going to see a bunch of failures probably because I just restarted Elasticsearch. Oh, okay, that was pretty quick. So you'll see this right here where JVM is. JVM heap, you'll see it says 8 gigs, and that's what you want, because once you get to a certain point and there's not enough RAM, it's going to fail on its processes. So anyway, guys, so this is. Uh-oh, I see 50. I need to see more than that. 1 second. I'm gonna refresh this. Okay, there it is, 100. Okay, guys, that scared me for a second. I didn't just set up all this stuff and then it did not work right. So anyway, guys, this is how to cluster Elasticsearch nodes, and I hope it's helpful. And so this basically is for whenever you have a large environment and you have tons of logs coming in, you have a place to store them, and you have no disk space. So anyway, and you also see that health is green. Usually when it's just a single node by itself, health will be yellow. And so anyway, guys, thank y'all very much for watching the video. I hope it's helpful. If y'all need anything, please reach out to me. Again, I'm in cyber school right now, so I may not answer you immediately, but by all means, send me your questions. Please like and subscribe and comment on the video, and I'll give you feedback as much as I can. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good one.